Hey guys, this is Aman Mittal welcoming you all to Daily News Nuts, an initiative of PrepNuts. Today the date is 20th of June 2020 and we shall be seeing all the articles that you must go through from the exams perspective. आज near about 9 articles है हमारे पास from the Hindu. One article is there from Indian Express and one from PIB. In total, we shall be seeing 11 articles today. Moving on to the first article of the day, that is on the editorial page, Crisis in the Peninsula. तो नॉर्थ कोरिया, साउथ कोरिया और यूएसए इनके बीच में टेंशंस काफी टाइम से चलती आ रही है and there was a period when a bonhomie was observed between the North Korea and US when a meeting took place between the leaders of both the countries in Singapore. लेकिन उसके बाद से continuous deterioration between the relations of USA and North Korea and also between North Korea and South Korea have been observed. So this article gives you a briefing about the entire process and the relations between North Korea, US and the South Korea. So you won't be able to extract much from this article, but it will help you to quickly revise and draw a rough sketch of the relations of these three countries. इस आर्टिकल को आप एक क्विक रीड दे सकते हैं. Moving on to the next article now. Russia begins discreet moves to diffuse India-China tensions. तो India-China border tensions को जो हमने कवर किया था क्रैक्ड नट्स में, उसके वे फॉरवर्ड में यही मेंशन था कि सुपर पावर्स अदर देन द इंडिया एंड चाइना लाइक यूएस एंड रशिया विल बी एबल टू मीडिएट एंड सॉल्व द टेंशंस बिटवीन इंडिया एंड चाइना. और सारी कंट्रीज में से जो बेस्ट सूटेड था दैट वाज द रशिया because of its good relations with both India and China, and that is now taking place as Russia has begun its discreet process to diffuse the tensions between both the countries. RIC की मीटिंग भी अभी scheduled है. RIC is an informal grouping of Russia, India and China wherein all the three countries will together sit and will be in a better position to sort out their differences in the presence of Russia. तो दो इंडिया और चाइना दोनों ने एक्सटर्नल मीडिएशन को आउटराइटली रिजेक्ट किया है, बट दिस इज अ काइंड ऑफ बैकग्राउंड डिप्लोमेसी व्हिच इज टेकिंग प्लेस एंड विल डेफिनेटली हेल्प अटेन्युएट द टेंशंस बिटवीन इंडिया एंड चाइना. यहाँ पे कुछ implications भी mentioned है about the ongoing India-China border standoff on the various other multilateral fora where India and China are crucial parts like SCO and BRICS. So India, China are central to the rise of the Eurasian continent and to the emergence of a multipolar world order. तो ये दोनों countries के बीच में good relations होना बहुत जरूरी है. Otherwise, it's gonna have great implications not only on the multilateral forums and the institutions, but on the entire global order. ये कुछ दो तीन points हैं जो आपको यहाँ से pick up करना है with respect to India-China tensions and most importantly the implications of the same. Moving on to the next article now. Now China embraces Bangladesh in trade. So this is a kind of diplomacy failure of India wherein China is being able to make inroads into its neighbor country that is the Bangladesh. So India की first neighborhood policy was one of the most important component of the India's overall foreign policy has not been able to deliver results since it was launched. तो इंडिया की फर्स्ट नेबरहुड पॉलिसी को अगर आपको क्रिटिकली एनालाइज करना हो तो उसके नेगेटिव एस्पेक्ट्स आपको सब्सटैंशिएट करने पड़ेंगे फॉर विच यू नीड एग्जांपल्स एंड दीज काइंड ऑफ आर्टिकल्स विल प्रोवाइड यू दैट एग्जांपल्स. तो विद रिस्पेक्ट टू नेपाल हमने ऑलरेडी बहुत सारे डेवलपमेंट्स देखे हैं और डिस्कस करे हैं एंड नाउ दिस इज विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दी बांग्लादेश. तो चाइना और बांग्लादेश ने एक डील साइन करी है वेयर इन 97% ऑफ द एक्सपोर्ट्स फ्रॉम बांग्लादेश टू चाइना वुड बी एग्जेम्प्टेड फ्रॉम द टैरिफ बैरियर्स ऑफ चाइना. तो इससे ट्रेड further facilitate होगा between both the countries and it definitely will have an adverse impact on the India-Bangladesh relations. Moving on to the next article now. Gains from coal mine auction uncertain. कल हमने देखा था कि पीएम ने 41 कोल ब्लॉक्स को ऑक्शन करने की बात करी है for the commercial mining and these all coal mines are the captive mines which previously were not opened for the commercial mining, but after the announcements made under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan it was decided कि इन coal mines को open किया जाएगा for the commercial mining so as to attract investments, provide jobs and to make India a competitive exporter of coal. तो ये तीन मेजर रीजंस हैं जिसके कारण कोल्स की कमर्शियल माइनिंग ओपन करी गई है एंड हियर देयर इज मेंशन ऑफ द क्रिटिसिज्म ऑफ दिस पॉलिसी. द मेजर क्रिटिसिज्म कम्स फ्रॉम द एनवायरमेंटल पर्सपेक्टिव वेयर इन द ओपनिंग ऑफ द प्रिस्टीन फॉरेस्ट will lead to the environmental degradation. So the environmental cost is expected to overturn the benefits which are expected to come from the commercial mining or the auction of the 41 new coal mines as was announced by the Prime Minister. तो ये criticism आपके पास होना बहुत जरूरी है because whenever you talk about a thing you should have a broad perspective about it including the pros and cons of that particular topic. Moving on to the next article now. India attends FATF group meet online. तो ये बहुत छोटा सा आर्टिकल है. The major one is about to come with respect to the FATF meet which is scheduled on 24th of June. But from here, what you can study from the prelims perspective is about the EAG, that is the Eurasian Group on Combating Money Laundering and Financing of Terrorism, which is an associate member of FATF and is a regional body comprising of the 9 countries. तो prelims point of view से ये information important है. Moving on to the next article now. Individual contributions to NDRF get green light from the finance ministry. तो recently एक petition फाइल हुई थी सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जहां पे ये बोला गया था कि जो भी contributions PM केयर्स फंड में आ रहे हैं उनको ट्रांसफर किया जाए to the NDRF fund or the National Disaster Response Fund which was created through the Disaster Management Act of 2005. तो PM केयर्स फंड एंड द PM NRF फंड, इन दोनों फंड्स के साथ एक बेसिक प्रॉब्लम है that they are not declared as a public authorities and so an RTI cannot be applied or filed to know about the proceeds of these funds. So, इस criticism को sideline करने के लिए the ministry has taken this decision so that individuals now can contribute to the NDRF which is a public authority and an RTI application can be filed to know about the proceeds of the NDRF fund. तो इससे जो एक section था which was reluctant to contribute towards the PM cares or the PM NRF fund will now be able to contribute to the NDRF fund and the ultimate beneficiary of all these fundings would be the people of India because these funds are gonna be used in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll see our next article now. China publishes virus genome data. So China has finally released the genome sequencing data for the coronavirus which was responsible for the outbreak in Beijing. ये एक बहुत important और short update है with respect to the coronavirus pandemic at the global scale because genome sequencing बहुत important है for further research, study and to know about the nitty-gritties of the virus. तो prelims point of view से यहाँ पे दो important keywords हैं जिनको आपको पढ़ना है. The first is the genome sequencing which is important from the science and tech perspective. Second is Global Influenza Data Initiative GISAID which is a global initiative and a primary source for the genomic data of the influenza viruses. So it provides a publicly accessible database which is designed by the scientist for the scientist to improve the sharing of the influenza data. So these two are the important keywords which is why this article has been selected today. Moving on to the next article now. IAEA passes critical resolution against Iran. So this is a very big development since the JCPOA. So IAEA, which is the International Atomic Energy Agency, an international organization functioning under the United Nations, passed a resolution which urges Iran to provide inspectors for the IAEA with access to 2 sites in Iran. So JCPOA से US का withdrawal हुआ and after that other members of the JCPOA decided to go further with this plan of action and guide Iran to steer away from its nuclear program. And in that respect, this resolution has been passed so that the inspection can be done by the IAEA. So this is a kind of confidence building measure which if Iran allows and if a positive report from the end of the IAEA comes, then it has potential to further bolster the agreement, that is the JCPOA, which has lost its relevance since the withdrawal of the US from here. तो यहाँ से आपको जो स्टडी करना है that is all about the JCPOA from both mains and prelims perspective, about the IAEA from the prelims perspective, and have to take this article as an update with respect to the Iran's nuclear facility program which the major powers of the world are trying to curb down. Moving on to the next article now. Skeletal remains of a child found at Tamil Nadu's Keeeladi excavation site. Tamil Nadu के excavation site के बारे में हमने कल ही देखा था which was the Kodumanal, and here there is mention of the Keeeladi excavation site which is again a very important excavation site wherein the excavation process has been running since 2015. So although there is no information about the Keeeladi excavation process or the findings from this excavation site, but since this is in news, so it automatically becomes important from the prelims and the mains perspective. तो केलादी के बारे में basic information आपको होनी चाहिए as the excavations and the further study done by the Archaeological Survey of India have linked this site to various civilizations and empires of the ancient ancient history. Like the Tamil Brahmi script of the Keeeladi excavation site has linked it to the Indus Valley civilization. The pottery found out from the excavation have linked this to the Roman Empire, and the bricks found from this excavation site have linked it to the Sangam era. So this site is important from the exam's perspective, and a background study on this is highly recommended. Now let us quickly see our article from the Indian Express. Why China trade ban is a bad idea. So since the casualties which took place at the Galwan Valley, an implicit campaign has been run in India, which not only has been acknowledged but also has been promoted by the ministers at the union level and also by several leaders to ban trade with China and boycott the Chinese goods. So a rational study of this idea is important. This article here gives you 6 most important reasons that why China trade ban is a bad idea for India. तो ये 6 reasons बहुत important है and you must use them whenever you write or speak about the boycotting of Chinese goods. So the first reason is that trade deficits are not necessarily bad. मतलब इंडिया अगर ट्रेड डेफिसिट मेंटेन करता है विद चाइना, then it does not mean that India is at a disadvantaged position and must ban the trade with China, because India जो भी import करता है from China, most of them are the intermediary goods which further are processed and given value, जिसके बाद फाइनल प्रोडक्ट्स इंडिया फर्दर यूज करता है या एक्सपोर्ट करता है. तो ऐसे काफी सारे रीजंस हैं जिसके कारण ये कंक्लूड नहीं किया जा सकता कि ट्रेड डेफिसिट्स आर बैड. सेकंड इज द पुअर इन इंडिया विल बी हर्ट द मोस्ट, बिकॉज अगर अभी आप बॉयकॉट करते हो चाइनीज गुड्स, सो यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि चाइनीज गुड जो ऑलरेडी इंडिया में है वो इंडिया परचेज कर चुका है, एंड बाय बॉयकॉटिंग द चाइनीज गुड्स यू विल बी हर्टिंग द पुअर who are selling those Chinese goods on the streets of India. Third is a trade ban will punish Indian producers and exporters. तो हमने जैसे कि फर्स्ट पॉइंट में डिस्कस कर कि इंटरमीडिएरी गुड्स और द प्राइमरी प्रोडक्ट्स फॉर्म अ लार्ज शेयर ऑफ ऑल द इंडियाज इंपोर्ट्स फ्रॉम चाइना, और ट्रेड बैन के बाद सबसे ज्यादा जो इफेक्ट होगा वो प्रोड्यूसर्स और एक्सपोर्टर्स को होगा, बिकॉज दे आर द वन हु फर्दर एड वैल्यू एंड प्रोसेस दोज इंटरमीडिएरी गुड्स फॉर द फाइनल कंजप्शन बाय द कंज्यूमर्स इन इंडिया एंड अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड. नेक्स्ट इज अ ट्रेड बैन विल बेयरली हर्ट चाइना. तो ये बात यहाँ पे समझना बहुत जरूरी है दैट चाइना का ओवरऑल जो एक्सपोर्ट है दैट इज नियर अबाउट $2500 बिलियन, और चाइना का जो ओवरऑल इंपोर्ट है दैट इज नियर अबाउट $2100 बिलियन. सो इट इज मच इजियर फॉर चाइना टू रिप्लेस इंडिया देन फॉर इंडिया टू रिप्लेस चाइना. नेक्स्ट रीजन इज इंडिया विल लूज पॉलिसी क्रेडिबिलिटी बिफोर फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स. तो फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स इन्वेस्ट करने से पहले जो सबसे पहली चीज देखते हैं किसी भी कंट्री में दैट इज द क्रेडिबिलिटी and the certainty of the policies of that particular nation. और इंडिया अगर ऐसे abrupt decisions लेता है then definitely it's gonna have an adverse impact on its image, and it will allow investors to ask for higher returns due to the increased risk of investments in India. Next and the last reason is raising tariffs is mutually assured destruction. कि अगर इंडिया अपने टैरिफ्स बढ़ाता है या इंडिया चाइना के गुड्स को बैन करता है, चाइना भी सिमिलर मैनर में एक्शन ले सकता है एंड कैन पुट हायर टैरिफ बैरियर्स ऑन इंडिया. देन इंडिया इज द वन व्हिच इज गोना लूज दिस ट्रेड वॉर, बिकॉज इंडिया इज हाईली डिपेंडेंट ऑन द चाइनीज गुड्स, बी इट द इलेक्ट्रॉनिक सेक्टर, हेल्थ सेक्टर और द फार्मास्यूटिकल्स, एंड इट इज नॉट इजी फॉर अस टू फाइंड अनदर सोर्स for the same products, especially during the coronavirus pandemic times. तो एक border dispute को trade war का कलर नहीं देना चाहिए. It should be restricted to the border levels and must be resolved through the high level engagements between both the military, between both the political and the military level dignitaries. Now let us quickly see our last article from the Sports Ministry to establish 1000 district level Khelo India centers to engage past champions in sports training. Khelo India scheme is again in news and it has become very important from both the prelims and the mains perspective. So you should do a background study of this scheme along with all the measures taken by the government to further upgrade or update this scheme. तो यहाँ पे government ने decide किया है that they will establish 1000 district level Khelo India centers to further enhance the grassroots level training of athletes and to ensure a sustained source of income for them. और रिसेंटली हमने ये भी देखा था कि यूनियन स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्ट्री ने ये डिसाइड किया था that they will establish the Khelo India State Centers of Excellence or the KISCE enhance the India's Olympic performance. The Khelo India scheme is an umbrella scheme which encompasses the overall development of the sports sector of India. So with this article, we shall wrap up the daily news notes of the day. Color-coded screenshots or the highlighted screenshots have been shared on a Telegram channel. You can download them from there and can save and organize them in your respective notebooks of the OneNote or Evernote similar kind of apps. Post your suggestions, queries, doubts in the comment section below. Keep learning, guys. Thank you.